Welcome to the Refueled podcast. Excited about this episode. We have a bunch of people from the RoadFlex team who are out in the field and closest to our fleet customers, prospects, and those who are actually out there operating, here to share what they're hearing from fleets. So we're going to start with a quick intro, and then we're going to get into some questions and see what we can get from them. So Mary, you kick us off.
Sure thing. Hey, everyone. Mary Akhavan. Been with RoadFlex a few years now, based out of Chicago. And here at the company, I support our partnerships and sales team. So happy to be here.
I'm Jessie Elam. I'm the head of customer success here at RoadFlex and been here about a year. And we work with all of our customers once they come on board to keep them happy and satisfied.
Yeah, I'm Minta. I've also been with RoadFlex for a couple of years. I'm on our sales team, and I mostly work with smaller fleets of vehicles, as well as some enterprise customers in the Midwest.
Just want to hear what you guys are hearing out in the field. So as you're talking to customers, as you're talking to fleets at events, as you're talking to prospects, what are you hearing some of the biggest challenges right now, especially we're talking on the commercial fleet or vocational trucking fleet side of the house right now?
Sure, happy to kick it off. There's a lot of issues that are going on out there in fleet. It's ever-changing industry, as we know that. But I would say that the number one thing that I hear the most frequently is that folks have more vehicles to manage, but not more people to manage them. So fleet managers are being asked to do more with the same team, which is a possibility. But that pressure is just forcing, that real reckoning about which manual processes are worth keeping and which ones should definitely be automated. Fuel spend tracking, exception reporting, and driver accountability are probably the three areas where the manual load is just crushing the teams right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we hear a ton about data overload. We hear a ton about manual processes. And with AI coming in, there's this half FOMO of, wait, do I have all the tools? Am I falling behind? But then it's, well, how do I actually implement these things practically?
I would say on our end, piggybacking on what some of Mary said, having data ready, available is something that more and more customers are asking for. Integrations, they have a lot of different systems that they're working and managing within house. So you've got accounting systems and FMC systems and telematics and drive cams, and how do we make everything talk to each other? And so having that cohesiveness and also that communication between systems to even be allowed to have that type of integration, we're running into challenges with some of the more legacy systems out there.
You can say it, Jess. It's the FMCs.
It was the FMC. Yeah.
It's all right. We're all friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just hopping on the same train. Just visibility, with the fleets, especially, when it comes to the fuel cards and everything, who's using your fuel cards, when are they using them, how much are they spending? Just having it being a huge process, look into everything. They want something simple, that easily accessible, things like that, that they're not having access to right now.
Yeah. You guys touched on a pain point, so I want to dig a little deeper on that, because the FMCs are a big part, especially when we look at the commercial fleet space. Fleet management companies, for those of you who aren't in with the lingo, formerly leasing companies who have really expanded to be a kind of a catch-all and service a variety of different ways. But you talked about FMCs and maybe their dashboards and staying on top of technology and this idea of data integrating in with FMCs. What challenges are you seeing there?
It's the tech stacks just being completely archaic and not being able to support the real-time integrations that are required for these, especially when it comes to RoadFlex and our spend alerts. Everything is in real time. And then also too, just ingesting the data, the how many gallons were consumed, price per gallon, for which vehicle, et cetera. We just have yet to find some folks that are out there that have the capability to integrate with us. We're open API and we're friendly with everybody. It just seems to be like that has been an afterthought. And when it comes to total cost of ownership and life cycle cost of these assets, it's incredibly important to incorporate those transactions and that data in with each asset.
Yeah, I would say I've got a couple of customers currently that we're trying to navigate this with them. They love our stack. They love what we bring to the table. Even their accounting team loves us, which if you can win over an accounting team of any company, then you're doing good. And so they love us. But the problem is they have a very widely known national brand for an FMC that a lot of people use, and they're not even able to take in a CSV upload of transaction data. which is unbelievable. Just like we'll manually pull the data and currently not even entertaining a conversation with us and how we can even help them to work with that. So that's frustrating, and you've got this part of the business works really well, and we just need to get past this one little piece, and it's really frustrating because all other parts of the business really, really like what we bring to the table, but then we have this one barrier we have to get past, and it's a doozy. So
what's causing that roadblock? I mean, you've mentioned kind of outdated tech stack, things like that, but is there something else too? Are they making a decision that they only want to work with certain providers? Is that
sure? There's there's Goliath, and we're not a bank. We don't operate as a bank. We don't charge fees, and completely transparent program, which is new to our industry. But this is a modern fuel card solution and risk management tool. It needs to be completely transparent. Right. And we have found that a lot of the folks, on this topic of FMCs are, for lack of a better term, kind of I would say a little bit more than guiding their fleet, saying that you have to use this tool or this fuel card, which is basically all it is to get gas or charge, excuse me. But yeah, it's unfortunate because they don't have to. We've gone through T's and C's of the contracts, and we've shown them like you actually don't have to use that card. And here they are thinking for the past 5 years that they've had to. Now coming to the realization they don't have to, they can use another modern fuel card risk management tool such as RoadFlex. However, we get into the issue of the integration and getting all that in real time. And as Jess said, we've really tried all workarounds. Like even a flat file isn't working. So anything short of going out and putting our own engineers to work on behalf of them, we're not really sure what else to do at this point. So just want to educate the fleets that are out there and let them know that there are other options available to them.
I mean, the world is moving towards these open APIs. Everything needs to talk to everything. I mean, when we look at AI and automation, we look at things like Zapier and all these tools that allow you to create processes. We're talking about agents being involved. The fact that we would have this awesome data and this awesome solution and not have them to be able to talk to each other, that's got to cause a lot of headaches.
I think some are entertaining the concept and knowing that, hey, if they're the ones that get it out the gate and they're they're the forerunners with this whole system, then they're going to be in a really good position, because we actually have our fleets telling us they will switch FMCs if they will not, because this is how important this is. This is an entire risk management tool. This is not just a fuel card. And so we're coming in and revolutionizing. We're replacing P cards. We're integrated with the FMIS software. So there's a lot happening. It's not just point of sale transactions at the pump, and fleets are, quite frankly, ready to make the switch to the first FMC that's out there that is willing to update their tech stack.
Tell me a little bit more about what a fleet is missing if they're using a legacy card that happens to integrate with the FMC, and right now they're trying to figure out how to get on something more modern like a RoadFlex or others that are out there. What are they missing between a legacy fuel card and then what RoadFlex or others like that offer?
They're missing Jess, Elam, and the entire customer success team. We're the folks that, no matter where you come, you have a direct point of contact with your customer success agent. This is very unique in our field. There's no 1-800 number. Who am I going to get on the end that doesn't know any? I'm going to have to repeat my issue over and over again. And that's a pain point. Me being from operations background too, I can recall that. And we've alleviated that through our customer success program, which I'm sure Jess can talk about in much more great detail. But as far as the actual transparency, again, circling back to that, we're open loop partnered with Visa. Anywhere you see that Visa logo, you can use this card. You will get discounts at every single transaction. That's including fuel and non-fuel purchases. The real power of the system is the spend controls. So essentially, this tool is acting as an extension of your team. You set it up for success, and it's just constantly being monitored, making sure that it's business as usual and that everyone's following the rules. So lots of happy folks out there.
What does that look like? I mean, because we've talked about spend controls going back to data entry at the pump, and there have been spend controls in these legacy cards and some of these P cards, although they don't really deal with fleet and fuel nearly as much. When you look at a legacy fuel provider, and there's a couple of big brand names that we know out there, what are people missing when it comes to, you guys talk a lot about like proactive and predictive. What does it actually look like?
Yeah, I think it just comes down to a lot of the telematics integration as well. Some companies, they do offer telematics integration, but the difference between our system, and ours is real. We are getting that real-time data. So when they swipe it at the pump, we're verifying the location right there. If the vehicle's not there with the pump, the card's unusable. Whereas other companies, they'll just flag that in your statement and say, hey, the card, this purchase went through, but there wasn't a company vehicle there. And then it's up to the customer to go through these statements, filter through everything, and then try and validate that with the fuel card company. So we're stopping it at the time that it's happening rather than having the customer trying to follow up later and figure out what happened.
Okay. With all of these advantages on this side, what are fleets doing when an FMC or say another provider is closing off the ability for that integration?
It's a good question. I think, the business intelligence tools that are available out there have proven to be a little bit of a workaround. From putting in all the data points from all of these providers, as Minta touched on, you got your telematics, you've got your video, everything out there, your fuel card, your FMC. And unfortunately, they're having to find the workarounds, but fortunately, workarounds are available. We're just waiting for the point in time to where we can get back to brass tactics and have our fleets, working from one system. RoadFlex supports that. Jess and her team will set you up in the platform. It's set up for your success out there. What's really important is where your team is working day in and day out. And that's usually, in one tool to manage the entire fleet.
Right.
So we just want to be a part of that process, support it. We don't expect people to live in our platform all day. So as long as those, it's a user experience of where they can have their single source of truth in one entity, which hopefully we get to that point at one day with the FMCs.
Right. Yeah, and the FMCs, I mean, they're big players, but when we really look at the environment right now, the telematics providers end up being where a lot of people are spending their time. Are you seeing that same kind of issue with telematics providers?
Yeah, we're our partners. We're device agnostic when it comes to that space. I will say it gets a little dicey. Some telematics providers are trying to lean more into the FMIS space. So that has been a learning curve for some folks. There's the brands that are out there, the tried and trues, the Fasters, the RTAs, the Chevins, and we play nice with them already. So this is a new way, for telematics to come in and try and kind of grab that, I guess, for lack of a better term, that portion of the business. It's helpful for us because we're already integrated with them. But I guess to your point, as far as the FMC is concerned, it's the same issue on the FMC side. Somehow that transaction information is going to have to get, flowing into that, and it's just not happening.
Right. But you guys are integrated in, I mean, with the big ones like Geotab, Samsara, along with FMIS. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Looking at kind of operational improvements, maybe beyond fuel, are you seeing when fleets start connecting their systems, what other operational improvements are you hearing on their end?
I think so. One area that we hear a lot of positive feedback is going back to the accounting side of the house. Whenever you're able to make that side of the house happy, being able to provide at the point of transaction information such as GL coding and all of those details that will help this accounting side of the house quickly group projects together, and they can load that into their billing systems that they have, so that whenever they're going to go through and filter through transactions, we've talked to some folks who are manually one by one matching transactions to GL codes. And so being able to set those organizations up from the very beginning, and whether it's project codes, GL, and be able to segment those transactions up front, it's making their life easier on the back end whenever they're loading those transactions into their accounting systems.
Anything else? I mean, I know we touched on this a little in the past, like maintenance and even kind of getting into predictive maintenance. Is there anything on that side where people are using data from solutions like RoadFlex to impact maintenance decisions as well?
So when some features, I'm sorry, Mary, go ahead.
No, go ahead. The MPG, we're probably going to say the same thing.
Yeah. We actually are working closely with a customer to build out some new functionality based on their feedback that will help us determine which vehicles within their fleet have the higher miles per gallon and lower miles per gallon based on and also applicable fuel usage. So using our transaction data, being able to pull reporting to say these are the vehicles that are spending the more money per gallon on fuel because of misuse. And so we're working on those new features and new reporting to pull out. We get a lot of really great feedback from customers that help drive our roadmap. And so whenever we have those such ideas that are really going to be able to pick our customers as a whole, such as miles per gallon reporting, and build that into the product, That's exciting. That's the kind of great feedback that we love to be able to incorporate that also is no one else is going to be able to do.
And that is cool, especially, I mean, you look at a similar make and model and one is definitely getting a much worse mileage. You can say, hey, there's something going on. We need to get that vehicle in for maintenance. Okay.
The tools for benchmarking are there. We're just leveraging them. Like two or 3 years ago, fleets just accepted the reports that came at the end of the month. And I think that today that's a deal breaker. The expectation shifted from tell me what happened to tell me what's happening right now so I can address it and do something about it. It's just to your point, not being reactive anymore and being proactive.
Yeah.
So real-time transaction visibility, live alerts, proactive fraud flags, that's the new baseline. And fleets that are still waiting for monthly statements are really operating blindly.
Fleets are evaluating a ton of technology now. I mean, it's just like hitting them nonstop in every area. You guys are on the front lines of this a lot and interacting with fleets when they're looking to make a decision about fuel technology. But when you look at technology in general, what mistakes do you think fleets, we can take this two ways, either mistakes that they make when they're evaluating technology that you wish that they knew or you wish that they would look into, or questions that they should be asking when they're evaluating technology that sometimes they miss. So I know that can be a little bit of a tough one, but if you think back and it's like, what are they missing along the way that will help them make better decisions as they're evaluating technology?
I feel like, one of the first, obstacles is obviously like price. I think the price kind of gets taken into account too much because sometimes the security controls that are provided and the savings that will come from just the security controls are going to outweigh the price of the product and pay you back anyways. So I think a lot of customers get hung up, especially in the fuel card space, on the price and the discounts that they'll be receiving when you could be working with a legacy fuel company that is promising you discounts, but they're also hiking up the price of gas at the fuel pump to make the discounts look bigger. They're throwing in extra fees that you're not seeing on your statements. So having like a transparent pricing structure and kind of just evaluating to say, hey, is the price of this going to, pay me back actually? And just kind of discounting it that way.
Yeah, fleets look at vehicle acquisition with total cost of ownership. The upfront price is a consideration in there, but they're looking at depreciation, they're looking at maintenance costs, whatever that may be. So it's really kind of looking at all of their technology purchases, which is if it saves you a ton of time, or there's hidden fees, or there's things that they're not considering, they just look at that upfront price. They can sometimes be misled. Anything else?
Those long contracts that limit flexibility, kind of touching to Minta's the ROI factor, a mistake that we see pretty often in our specific space, not in the fleet technology as a whole, is that fleets are optimizing for that upfront discount, to her point, and ignoring the exit. So you might spend $1 to save a nickel, for lack of a better term. So a great per gallon rate in 1 year means nothing if you're locked into a 3-year contract with no out clause and a vendor who stops innovating. This is besides all the fees and all the non-transparent programs that are out there. But I think that the fleet technology space is moving very fast. A contract that made sense in 2022 might be anchoring you to some really outdated tools. And by 2026, you always have to ask yourself, what's going to cost me to leave? That's why we don't require contracts. You don't like working with us, and we're happy to support you guys in any way possible. But
yeah. Okay. Well, I want to, we're kind of going back and forth between talking about technology and talking about purchasing and things like that. But I do want to get your take when you're looking and engaging with fleets in the field. I guess what stands out with best run fleets and how they're operating on the fuel side, but you can look and bleed that into the operational side as well. Like, what is a best run fleet doing differently than those that seem to be really struggling right now when it comes to managing fuel, but taking a look at the overall operation as well as if you want to?
I think the ones that, and personally the ones that I work with, those that are always looking at ways to use data and find creative ways to use data are the most successful fleets. And also they have like the fleet managers that are managing that function are just brilliant in the way that they're looking for ways to get better. And how can we get better and continuously looking better rather than just, I'm just going to do the bare minimum to just manage this fleet. They're every day thinking of new ideas, new ways to get data, new reporting, new ways to integrate. I think those that are seeking the integrations, and that's why we are circling back to the integrations, but honestly, data is such a great indicator of success for any operation. And when you're finding a fleet manager who knows how to use data and knows how to use it to expand their services, that's the one that you want to have in house. You want to really seeking that talent.
Thanks, Jess. What about the rest of you? Anything else to add?
Building systems that work together is on the forefront of everybody's mind. It's, top performing fleets aren't necessarily running the most sophisticated technology, but they're running technology that's actually connected, to Jess's point. We're, garbage in, garbage out. We've all learned that. Even, CRMs came into existence 20 years ago. Their fuel card talks to their telematics. The telematics feeds into the maintenance schedule. So the expenses syncing to accounting automatically. I mean, that's huge. The operational edge isn't just one single tool. It's the absence of silos. And I think that, every disconnected system is a place where errors, fraud, and inefficiency will exist.
All right. Well, we are going to end looking at the future. So I want you guys to kind of think about that for a minute and really looking ahead. I mean, we have AI just hitting all of us in the face right now. I feel like in the last 3 months, it's accelerated way more. Now we're seeing Claude come in and everyone's ditching old school ChatGPT and like, oh, Claude's the new one that I got to go with. And like, we see how rapidly this is going to be impacting us, both on when we look at software and we look at what RoadFlex is doing with AI and we look at others, everyone's touching on it, but then in our personal lives too. And in our personal roles, fleet managers are figuring out what they need to do to stay on top of things. So when you're looking ahead, what are fleets talking about when they're looking at the future? And you personally, I guess we can kind of branch this out. What do you think is going to make the biggest impact over the next couple of years on how fleets are managing their day-to-day operations?
There's a lot of shifts that are already underway, and that will continue to accelerate. It's moving from dashboards that you check, to systems that come to you. Instead of logging in and running a report, now get an alert that says driver X's fuel efficiency has dropped by 15% this week. That circles back to the alert that there's a potential underlying maintenance issue. This vehicle has a transaction pattern that looks like card sharing. That's misuse. So fleets that build their tech stacks around proactive alerting and instead of just passive reporting, that's a big one, will have a meaningful cost and safety advantage. The data is already there, to Jess's point. The question is whether your systems are configured to act on it in a time to matter.
Okay. All right. We're going to go around the horn with this one. Let you all close out with something. So, I mean, really, this is just looking at the future. Trends you're seeing, trends you're hearing about that you think are going to impact things going forward.
Yeah. I think, sorry, Jess.
No, go ahead.
I feel like one of the things I'm hearing just, when I'm talking to people looking for new fuel cards, current customers, they're also super worried about the quality of customer service that they're going to be receiving. I think a lot of, the legacy cards, they have third-party companies hired out that don't understand the product. They don't know how to use the product. They can't answer questions. So it's nice with RoadFlex to have, an in-house customer service team that works every day with the product. They know how to answer your questions, how to help you. And they also answer the phone in a timely manner as well, because that's the thing too. People have been stuck like on hold. So sometimes I've had customers call me and they're on hold with the other company and they're like, I'm looking for a new fuel card now because I can't deal with this anymore. So I definitely think having quality customer service and just having a customer service team that's accessible to the customer as well is kind of on the forefront of a lot of people's minds when they're looking at new products and services.
That's a great point, because we talk about AI and we talk about technology. We talk about all these things that automation can do for you. But at the end of the day, where do humans fit in? And in customer service, we all know we hate it when we end up in a chatbot for like core customer service, or when people are trying to super automate things and it's like, I just need to talk to a human being. So that human element, going forward in the midst of all this technology, that's a great point to bring out. Jess, you get to close out this question.
Great. So mine is not going to be as exciting theirs, but I do think one thing that I would love to see people move towards more and more, because, even with all the fraud, we still have skimming. Skimmers are still out there. Skimmers are still doing what they do best, which is stealing from people. And I think driving more people to not having physical cards. We have the functionality now, the capabilities, but I think it's that mental block that customers have of, I want to have a card. Like I don't want them to do this. So I think driving customers to want more that contactless, just tap and go. That's, I really would love to see us do that. We are seeing more customers get excited when we see that we do have that option. You have some barriers, operational barriers that you have to get across, like, well, I don't want my whole fleet to have to pay for them to have their own cell phone. So that's something to get through, but finding better ways to have contactless pay, I think, is going to be a huge thing that we should look for in the future.
That's a great point. Like you said, the options exist for both. So no matter where you are in that, for those who are ready to adopt, though, that is a great thing. No lost or stolen card, and you have the security of what's on your phone. So okay. I guess in closing out, is there anything that we missed or that you think we need to hit on, or that you wished you had said earlier that you want to close it out? I'll open it up for kind of last call here before we finish our conversation. No?
Work with partners.
Covered it all?
People that want to partner with you, people that want to see you leverage your existing technology stack, people that want to learn your operation in ways that we can help enhance it. So I think this isn't a transactional thing. We become integrated in with the organizations and the fleets, and we love doing that. So just find yourself a partner out there.
Yep.
Well, it's been a pleasure getting to know all of you, the RoadFlex team. They've got a great group of people over there building, doing customer service out there, working alongside fleets. So I'm really thankful for RoadFlex for making this Refueled podcast possible. And we'll see you on the next episode.